Hello and welcome back, beautiful soul, to Permission to Follow Your Inner GPS, your inner guided purpose soul path. Today we have another set of amazing, beautiful souls, and it is my honor and pleasure to share them and the person or the energy that they channel. This is Kasey and Brad, and the energy known as Julius that comes through to teach and guide. And they recognize that they have this ability to assist people to heal themselves through raising frequency, healing activations, understanding manifestation, channeling, mediumship, and the list goes on. And this is the first time the three of us physical people are meeting. And we've had a few moments to chitter-chatter, and I'm already, trying to ground over here on my side. So please welcome these beautiful souls. Kasey and Brad, hello, welcome.
Strap down and hang on. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be energy.
Yeah. Julius has a really great time with other channels like yourself. And just like you said, the energy just kind of starts buzzing. And we know the listeners feel that too. And it's just an honor, absolute honor for the invitation and to be here with you and your listeners. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So please tell us a little bit more about yourselves and this amazing energy that's going to be coming through.
Well, it's been 11 years, going into 12. I was in a car accident, and the medication that they gave me, I overdosed and left this planet, the planet Earth, for 8 hours. And while I was gone, I got the unique perspective and the fabulous opportunity to visit with the high energy teaching group known as Julius. That was their last physical embodiment that they were in when we shared that experience together. And I was their teacher at that time. And so we have an agreement.
Okay.
This long-going agreement with each other that we're going to continue to keep at each other and get everyone involved to higher stages of consciousness, whether they like it or not. That's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, Terry. So Brad sustained a massive brain injury. So he does have a traumatic brain injury. Upon his re-arrival back from his experience, I walked into the hospital room and started trans-channeling Julius back to Brad. The doctor left the room at that point.
Yeah.
And they let me go the next day.
They did. So. They're like, goodbye.
We don't know what's going on here. The man's awake. Let's, discharge.
Let's get him out of here.
That's
get
right.
him out of here.
We're done. And we're not responsible for how weird you are. And that started this absolutely crazy experience where I would just fade out in the middle of tasking, painting, gardening, doing something around the property. And Brad would be engaged in this conversation with Julius. The intention with Julius, I think, for the first year of this experience was to get Brad's brain reactivated.
Right.
Things re-rolling for him.
I had to learn how to walk again, how to talk again. And they talked, the conversations that we had with them that I was having at the time were all about how to heal myself, how I could possibly heal myself without the use of medication and through proper diet and proper thought processes and doing things that, believe me, I was not even aware of, nor had any idea in any lifetime that this was something, or this lifetime that this was something that I would be doing the rest of my life. After a year, they came right out and said, "So what do you think?" And that completely changed our whole conversation, because I said, "You mean I can talk to you And they said, yes, we've been waiting for a year. What's taking you so long?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so with the interaction of that, Brad wrote a book, and it was a very simple book. The first book was just kind of very simple, just kind of talked about some of the conversations that Brad had with Julius, maybe kind of similar along the lines to Neil Donald Walsh's book, you know, where he's channeling his conversations he's having with God. And the publisher was fascinated about where the information came from, and wanted to know if I could do this, you know, in front of people, if I could bring, and I was like, no. And Brad's like, yes. And and so this crazy threesome of us, you know, started to be presented. Over the years, it has become this reintroduction, obviously, to this extraordinary relationship. Our students are worldwide, thankfully, at this point. We do teachings monthly with Julius on raising consciousness, on expandable consciousness, and that really all your answers lie there. All your solutions lie there.
In fact, I would clarify that even more as saying we teach usable consciousness. How's that? Usable.
Yes, because there's a lot of woo-woo on the edges, on this side and that side, and a little bit down the middle. And how do you bring that into, it's like, okay, that sounds like really nice, but how do I bring that into my life? How do I use that now in my, because we are human.
Yeah.
Right.
Dang it.
I think it's because Julius was human.
Yeah.
So Julius,
they were human.
Yeah. Julius worked their consciousness into the expandable stages of what they refer to the sixth seal of consciousness, or the sixth level of consciousness, which is how they explain is a state of consciousness where you can ascend your physical body off the realm and no longer have to get your soul yanked out and reincarnate yourself. And they've done everything that all of us do, all the horrible things, all the good things, all the limiting things, all the expansive things, conquering this, working that, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, the students and people who interact with Julius, number one, usually really love Julius. They're pretty forthright, but also they're so relatable to everything. So I always have said, Terry, that I actually, of course, I think Julius and Brad are the same being. Of course, we are all one. But as Brad's wife and partner, and knowing Brad as intimately as I do, the energy is, they're pretty much the same energy force. And, you know, even as I'm trans-channeling Julius and they're having their conversations, and I go back and listen to the conversations, I'm like, it's like you're having a conversation with yourself. I'm like, your ego's so big. No, it's not. But it's been remarkable. And now we have the joy and the honor in our lives to be talking to people like you, to be reaching audiences broader and broader. And it's kind of a super cool life that we have, that Julius has helped us create.
Yeah, the other thing that I wanted to add to that was very early on, people used to actually get kind of upset, and they used to get pissed off at the conversation that was going on, because the fact that Julius is so forthright, and they just let you know it's black and white. And, you know, I used to tell people, we allow questions freely.
Mm-hmm.
Just be prepared for the answer. And they just look at you like, what?
Well, they say people say they want the truth. And they want it, you know, like, give it to me, I can handle it. And then you do, and they go, oh, hello, or, you know, some other response, right?
And Julius would tell people, you've been doing this for over 2.5 million years. Isn't it about time that you woke yourself up? And so sometimes you literally have to yell at somebody in order to get them to understand what in the hell we're talking about.
Well, they do it with love, they do it with honor, but they definitely are enthusiastic. It's not I always laugh and say, well, what would it be like to have one of those really quiet, subtle, peaceful guides, you know?
Sorry.
No, that's
yeah, some of mine are not real it's like, do that. Okay, fine, I'll do it. It's like, I have to do that. No, do it now. All right. Because you get this pressure, and it's different than coming from the fear side, the ego conscious, the conscious mind, ego chitter chatter. One at a time, please. Because it gets all in there. And so please, one at a time. So one of the questions I'm being kind of nudged to ask y'all is, would you share at least one obstacle or challenge other, yes, the year relearning and all, definitely. But after you were out of that, quote unquote, what then? How did you, because you didn't just wake up, so to speak, after the year and boom, there it is.
No, thank you for that question, because I think we spent, it's a very fitting question to ask at this time because of changes that we're making as far as our own business in the year 2019. We found at the end of the year last year, which it seems like so long ago, but it really hasn't been, that a lot of practitioners would come up to us and sit down and talk with us and say, how in the world have you gone from here to here? Because there is no rule book. There's no plan. There's no guidelines that anybody can go by. And so what we've done is we basically sat down and we've told people time and time again, you be authentic. Mm-hmm. We've tried a lot of things. We've done a lot of things. Some of them successful, some of them not. Mostly not successful, okay? But this is the game of the business world. It's the game of living the human experience, and it's the game of being human. That's just the reality of it.
Well, first of all, I had to come to terms with whether I was going to allow other people seeing me do this. That's really a challenge. I mean, it's all fine and dandy for him. He's the one that's having the conversation, but I'm the one that is going to, number one,
move out of the way and allow the usable space of my physical body for this powerhouse energy, which in many times left me very exhausted and kind of derailed afterwards. And I'm void from the situation. So it's like, I'm not getting what's going on at the time. Am I going to be brave enough to do this in front of somebody, to get my own ego out of the way? Because early on, it wasn't very seamless and I was jerky and things were a little bit strange. And then when he decided to put an event together, I'm like, what's an event? What do you mean an event? Like, what are we doing? Hell, I thought everybody did that. You just threw together an event and let's go stand up in front of people and let's talk about what we do.
Yeah. And
certainly they're going to accept what we do. Everybody's going to love what we do, right?
No.
And we announced, we decided to rent a facility in our local town, run an ad in the newspaper as if we're having a swap, a garage sale, hilarious, looking back at this in a hilarious manner. Okay. We're going to have this event and we're channeling. Nobody knew what that really was. And, for X amount of dollars, you can come. We got on the local radio station and they promoted us. And of course we gave tickets away on the radio station. And, we didn't have a topic. We didn't know what Julius was going to talk to the audience about. Brad went out and started to introduce this subject matter. And I'm throwing up backstage because I do not want to come out. And I'm thinking, God, are they going to come through? What if they don't? What if I'm just standing there, Mm-hmm. And I came out and it took about 30 seconds and Julius transitioned through me and talked to the audience about lots of stuff. I laugh and say early on, Julius kind of threw up information all over the audience.
It really got fun when Julius, because we actually had quite a few people show up. I thought it was more of let's go see how these guys want to make fools out of themselves. I mean, come on, we live in Utah, So,
right.
And so it got the whole energy in that first event changed the minute Julius started pointing at people in the audience and telling them what exactly they were thinking about and problems that they had in their life, but actually gave them in their loving way tangible ways for them to change their lives.
Yeah.
And people, it just, you could feel the buzz throughout the whole room. So, I mean, just an absolutely phenomenal change.
Yeah, and of course, Brad is continuing with his brain injury, you know, so our personal life is very personal with lots of struggles. Julius is part of who we are and what we're doing. You know, do we wait? Do we do this? Do we wait? Do we do this? You know, all of those human, you know, components. Yeah. And
struggling financially too.
And we kept going.
Well,
you know,
yes, because all we really have is what we would consider the mainstream to work within.
Right.
And we have to, you know, it's not even a get to. Right. We have to figure out how we can fit our integrity, our authenticity with what we're being told, nudged, encouraged, whatever you want to call it, to do and to get out there. And it's like, well, and it's not as simple as build it and they would come. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
No. To a small extent, but generally speaking, you've got to do the human pieces. Yeah. And how do you do that and still come across as not a Looney Tunes on the other end?
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Right. You know,
so we started doing the expo circuit, you know, buying a booth, letting Julius got a speaking engagement. People would come, but come to what? You know, we didn't even have we didn't have like a product that we were selling. Like, what were we doing, you know, with Julius? We did get introduced to an agent at one of the expos. A woman saw us, thought it was phenomenal. Of course, she kind of matched us up to Esther Hicks and Abraham and, you know, that type of thing, because every channel wrote on the shirt tail of poor Esther for, you know, a long time. We didn't want to be compared to them, but marketing wise, they were doing that a little bit. And the summits came next, products came next, downloads, classes, courses, and it's business. Like you said, you build business, but we're building this ethereal business. Isn't it interesting? Like, what's our tangible product? Our tangible product is this being, you know.
Our accountant, he always looks at us, and you got to understand, this guy's about as religious as they come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he just,
the minute,
we walk in there, and he sits there behind his big desk, and we sit there, and he goes, "Now, what is it again that you guys do? I'm just not very comfortable with all of
Right.
And how do you put into words what you just know is energy? I mean, and to try and translate something that comes in that quick can take a half an hour or longer.
Right.
And then you kind of have to go, not that word, not that word.
Well, sometimes we've dropped the F-bomb. Julius has dropped the F-bomb sometimes, even on a national audience. But, you know, the funny thing was, the host, first off, after the shock, and then the laugh, and then you get through the show, and then at the end of the show, the people will say, that was just absolutely profound that you would actually say that in a spirituality platform. And once again, Julius says, well, it was needed to get everybody's attention, because everybody seems to want to tippy-toe around spirituality. And so sometimes, you know, you literally have to do things to shake things up.
Yeah, but for people who are listening, Terry, you know, to this broadcast, we know that almost all of them, probably, Julius is telling me, have extraordinary stories. Mm-hmm. They've had an extraordinary event or phenomenon happen to them that has started to wake them up, and they don't know how to integrate it into their lives. They don't know if they should integrate it. There's a lot of fear wrapped around it because there's judgment from what your life was like. Some of them are brave enough to really want to. How do we do this? Others are still, you know, really, really hiding and in the shadow of judgment and fear, you know, of their own selves. What we can tell everybody is, whether it was insanity or inspiration that drove us to platform ourselves the way that we have, it has absolutely transformed our physical experiences this time around on the Earthship with the awakening process and the remembering process, and the state of joy in recognizing all that we are, that we didn't have 12 years ago. And it grows and it grows and it grows.
And you get to hang out with some pretty cool people.
We do, like you, I mean, it's the coolest part ever, isn't it? Is the weirdos. So we finally got cool, and we finally got weird enough to get into the cool group.
Yeah, we got into the cool class.
Yeah, spirituality in some ways has, interesting words, a bad rap, because, and when I first started my own journey, gosh, I don't know, however many years ago, I decided that trying to fit in wasn't working, and I was dying inside, and it's like, I don't know what, I just can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore. And then how do you balance being spiritual and still getting PO'd? I mean, you're not supposed to get mad, right? You're not supposed to do this. And it's like, holy smokes.
Right.
Well, I'll take it even one step farther than that.
Dude.
Not only just the balancing act, but how you're supposed to make a living out of it.
Right. Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah. And that's what we've been able to do.
Well, lots of people have, but
and other people in the business have been able to do.
It's a lot of support. Thank goodness, we and you and people who have our groups, our guides, our interactive beingness and our collectives give us our pep talk. They make us brave. They give us our support system. So when it's 9 p.m. and I'm crying because some very angry person has sent an email and telling me that I'm channeling the devil, and that, I'm doing, how could I, be doing this and that? And I'm telling Brad, I'm not doing this anymore. He's saying, yes, we are, and then Julius comes in and just has this energetic lift for all of us. And some of your listeners don't have groups that they channel. They have other extraordinary intuitive gifts, and they have to conjure their bravery. It's through transmissions like these types of interviews, these types of, not really interviews, let's call them just great conversations.
Great conversation.
And people can find some of their bravery from us. And
that's the whole purpose of this, and calling it following your inner GPS, because we all have different ways of using the same basic gifts, if you will, or skills, I don't care what you call them, and then how they marry and blend and assimilate and integrate, and that's enough words, to each person's experiences, whatever they are along the way. Mm-hmm. And I have quit more times, and they just kind of get quiet and go, okay, she'll be back. And I say, I will not. And in a couple hours or a day or two, the longest I went with absolutely not doing this anymore was 5 weeks. It was so dark, I didn't know that I would ever see the light again. Mm-hmm. And it took a while, even after it's like, okay, I can see it. And it still took, I think, another 30 days, maybe. Okay, they're telling me longer than that. But anyway, it took a while to just really, really calibrate, because I was stripped of everything from before. That's not the only time, but it seems like it was the biggest one. Let's just call it, what's the biggest, most traumatic one?
And here we go.
So, Master, we call this, of course, balancing yourself. All mastery and artistry requires balance, first interior and then exteriorly. So the beautiful dance is the presentation to the audience. But as you grow, both physically and spiritually, you have to recalibrate and rebalance yourself, because things get not only off kilter, but so far expansive that you almost have to reel it back into a capacity that is deliverable to the mass. So what we will tell your audience, Masters, is this: we are your balance. Source is, of course. And you will not find your balance outside of yourself. Mm-hmm. You won't find your balance by holding on to the railing. That's the railing's balance, not yours. Your balance comes from within. so that your stance then becomes the balance for the all. And if you ever doubt that you have the capacity or ability to do this, please remember this. When your soul decided to descend itself back onto the physical plane, it knew it was going to go through amnesia. It was willing to forget every capacity of its extraordinary beingness as source in order to expand source in its knowing through experience. That's bravery. That means that you were willing to disconnect from your remembrance of your authenticity in order to expand the full authenticity of the all. You are a brave soul because, Master, not all souls have come yet, and they sit and they watch and they gaze upon you with awe and wonderment. So every time you look in the mirror, please see your brave soul looking back upon you and know that just by being here, it is a truth. Now we can aid you along with others to unleash your remembrance of this. And then you join us in the massive demonstration of the empowerment and the superpowers for which you live. And joy becomes the consistent energy flow for which you demonstrate through. We are honored to be in your interaction. And Masters, more than this, please know that you are loved beyond any human capacity to hold the intensity of that truth, but is the promise of the all.
Thank you.
What is your question?
For those beautiful souls who are tuning in whenever they find this, how do they more easily accept that in their not being the sameness, that their uniqueness is really what is being called forth, what is being asked of them, what they agreed to do? So how do they come to terms with, for lack of a better human word, literally walking in two realms at the same moment?
So, Master, source is the all, not in duplication. It is the all through never-ending, immeasurable expansiveness. That means, Masters, that you are not the same as any other soul. Thank yourself or source for that. For source does not need to repeat itself in order to know itself. That is a human application or an altered ego application. So you are not designed to be the same. That's why it doesn't feel good. That's why it feels competitive. That's why it has a requirement to it. That's why it has agenda to it. So the highest truth is the way that this dialogue feels is that your authentic, individual, extraordinary, crazy, loony, beautiful, magnificent self is source in demonstration. And any off-kiltered aspect of you believing you have to follow and be the demonstration of another is the human component for which you struggle with. You came onto this realm as a light being, Masters, radiant in truth, never ending in an expansiveness, in a fractalization that is uncomparable to another, and yet inspired by it all. And human perspective captured you, imprisoned you, strangled you, and poisoned you into a state of unknowing. The clue of all that you are is an immovable force that lives within you, and it's called the way you feel. Your soul is the emotional processor of thought, Master. Your spirit and your soul are not the same thing. Spirit is the energy of thought that connects all souls together, But the soul is the emotional processor of thought. So we support that source is all thought. It's like a substance that your soul creates and demonstrates from. By expanding that substance through feeling of it and expressing of it. When you are looking for yourself, feel yourself, masters. Feel yourself. Humans have been taught to disconnect from their emotions. And isn't that a magnificent way of disconnecting you? By telling you that they're wrong or right in certain circumstances, that it's appropriate or inappropriate if you're male or female or old or young or black or white or purple or yellow, okay? To be feeling certain ways. And we say in order to know yourself, just feel yourself. And no two beings feel the same way about any given thought. So when one is struggling with the idea that they are designed to be authentic and individual and unlike, you can feel even through this dialogue that that's a truth. Your bodies are lighting up right now. We know they are. We know that it feels like this wonderful mother embracing you at the end of a hard school day and telling you how absolutely magnificent you are, because you are. Follow that feeling, master. Do not follow the reactive emotions of fear. Follow the fluid, calm emotions of love. And everything that you are inspired to do, and you do it, your soul will dance. It will dance. If you do not, you will have conflict, you'll have anxiety, you'll have depression. And we know you are ready to let go of all of that.
Well, your body shows you that. This is the thing that a lot of people don't understand about the human experience. The wonderful suit that we all have, that each of us has decided to put on. So many of us are trying to change that suit to fit somebody else's opinion about themselves. And your own soul is fighting inside your body, telling you, no, 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 no.
We also love this example. If ever you wonder what moves mountains, what makes the difference, take yourself to a beautiful art gallery, And perhaps there is one main artist that is showcased, which is fine. And you look around the gallery and pretty much all the artwork looks the same.
I can't.
And then there's one in the corner that's not the same artist. And it captures you, right? The figures, the colors, the depths, the textures, the message, the craziness, the off-kilterness. See yourself in that, master. See yourself. Be the one that captures, that cultivates, that inspires, that creates. All of you are that. All of you are that. And all you have to do is honor your feelings.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your allness.
Masters, it is our honor to interact with the all, for as you expand, you call out our further expansion. It is always a collaboration, and the dance shall never end. Please love yourself as you desire to be loved by another. Once you do, you can project on and inspire the love of the all, and collectively, we shall win. We are winning. You are extraordinary, and you are loved.
Yes. Thank you, because it's nice to hear it outside of my own head. I say that to my audience and my clients. You are loved and treasured beyond measure, and it's nice to hear it back in a different way. Would all of you come back another time?
You just schedule it and we'll.
Okay. in the meantime, for those of us who are here and our human counterparts, okay, they're out of words at the moment. So would you please give our viewers a couple of different ways to connect with you?
Yeah. You can catch us on our Facebook page, of course, Expand with
Welcome
Julius.
back.
Thank you. Our
Rather smooth transition, beautiful.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Our website, of course, is also Expand with Julius.
Expand with Julius.
And there's a free gift there. Just go to the website. Julius has a free gift for you.
There's a free gift for all your listeners.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's expandwithjulius.com, and the very same thing on Facebook, Expand with Julius.
That is correct.
And all of you, and I say that with love and expansion and just all encompassing, all of y'all, that's how we say that here in Southern Texas, all y'all are welcome back, and we'll do this again because I have a feeling there's way more.
Well, there's always more.
Kind of a little tongue-in-cheek thingy, but you know.
Right. Thanks, Terry, for having us.
Yep.
We love your energy. We love your beans. And thank you to your audience for inviting us, tolerating us, right?
Yeah.
And inspiring us to keep doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. It is our pleasure to be creating yet another avenue and a channel by which y'all are able to expand and reach more people. So thank you, beautiful soul. Please do stop by and rate, review, and subscribe. You just never know who is going to show up. So until next time, remember to follow your inner GPS. Bye-bye for now.